No, send it down, they got
It's
it.
all signed.
Yeah, but they still gotta see them. Yeah, that's why I usually let one of them two sign them. You know, next batch I'll let you sign it, I'll make them sign it. Pass it the word back and forth. We get a petition yet?
You was the board, I think.
Oh,
wait.
Gotcha, boss.
Okay, I'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order for March 7th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the approval of the agenda. I've been asked to move the discussion of the South Road oil spill ahead of unfinished business, so Lenny can leave fairly early.
Thank you.
We didn't do it yet.
Need a motion?
I'll take a
Make that
motion.
as a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve the agenda as
Okay.
amended.
Now,
Or you need more?
Jason?
Oh, you got more? Sorry.
Yep, so I had emailed Bob on Friday asking if we could add an update on information pertaining to the proposed roundabout at the, on the 140 bridge in Warehouse Point.
Okay.
So I'd ask that that be added as agenda item 11F.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Stay on the
All right.
agenda.
Yeah, okay. Any other agenda items?
All set.
Okay.
I'll move, make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Aye, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 New with this year?
Approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the special minute and budget workshop of February 18th, 2017.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
On the roll there.
Yeah, approval of the minutes from February 25th.
I make a motion to approve the amended meeting minutes, wow, this tongue isn't working tonight, of Saturday, February 25th, 2017.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, communications. I do have some communications. Received a update from AECom, which is the remediation person for Broadbrook Mill, and I'll go over quickly some of the things that they've done. They continue to work with Connecticut DEP and USA EPA to address the comments received on the remediation action plan addendum. They're going to put an addendum to the remediation action plan. Apparently, when they submitted it, the Connecticut DEP had some questions, so they're giving them some examples of what they're doing to remediate. They began design of the remediation design and permitting. The biannual groundwater sampling were completed in January. The semi-annual groundwater summer report was given to DEP, and notification letters were sent to property owners, abutting property owners, notifying them of impending demolition activities. And then today I called up William Penn, who's in charge of UT United Technologies Aerospace, which is kind of now taken over the control of the project. And I said, what did you mean by demolition? And he said that they're going to take down the buildings before they do remediation. And then I said, well, what's the difference between what Connecticut DEP does and what EPA is focusing on? He said that the DEP is the overall project and compliance people. The EPA focuses primarily on community involvement. He said that he expects to have information to us in maybe a month or so about the acceptance of the remediation action plan, and then once both the DEP and the EAP accept the addendum to the remediation action plan, that's when they'll come before us. He doesn't see that happening until about June, so that's. I'd entertain any questions if the.
So that means if everything gets approved, it could be done by the end of the summer.
Well, possibly. He'll come before us in June, and then that'd be a good question
I'll
to
ask
ask.
him the question.
Yeah, okay.
So the demolition is going to take place
Before,
June?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's just the garages
Good,
though, right?
Good.
I'm not sure. He's got to get permits for it. I know we kind of decided that probably the whole area should be demolished, but
Well, you all agreed, you took that walk through
Oh,
and you
yeah.
said it was
We
a
decided we
mess.
weren't gonna take it.
yeah. So that's where we stand now. Okay.
Can we invite this guy in just to make him say this to us?
Well, I think he had, yes.
I mean,
suppose-
it's like I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today with these people.
Yeah, that's true.
Wimpy is it?
Yeah.
He didn't really want to come in until he
I'm
had.
sure he doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
It's been a
Straight
3 or 4
answers
year
are always
project, I
welcome.
mean.
Maybe we could put him on a speakerphone. How's
There's
that?
a great seat right there that I'd love to have this guy sit in and just read us that same paragraph.
And we
And
may-
watch
we may
us
have
sweat
that
a
in
little.
red on our agenda, so all the public knows there's gonna be
He
something.
said he'd come in June, and I think and he's doing okay. So I'm not going to put him on the hot seat.
Oh.
Why not?
Okay. So now, public participation. And I thought I'd like to go over some of the rules, because I see some new people. And I believe in communication. I think that public participation is for the residents of East Windsor to help me and the Board of Selectmen move the town forward. And I think it's with communication that is the primary factor in the health and the growth of the community. Communication is really the exchange of information. And information is facts provided about something. Misinformation is false or inaccurate information, especially that which is deliberately intended to deceive. So let's not exchange misinformation. And I go on, I say, because we're human beings, the exchange of information can be difficult. To facilitate that, we have some rules, and here are the rules. If you want to say something, raise your hand, and I'll recognize you, and when I recognize you, you can speak. And when you start to speak, say your name and your address. And you shouldn't be interrupted while you're speaking. When you're through speaking, if the Board of Selectmen member or I wish to respond, we can. If we don't, we won't. If you want to speak again, then raise your hand and you can speak again. I'll call on you though. And the final rule we made fairly recently was when you're recognized and have the floor, you should not single out any individual person in the room personally. It's okay to criticize a policy or something like that, but don't pick on individuals. If you do that, I'll stop you from doing that. And if you want to speak again, you'll have to raise your hand. So those are the rules. Is there any public participation? Paul?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Robert.
Okay, I know the budget process is complex and difficult. I was asked when I made my presentation to the selectmen to get some information on the nonprofit status of the Broadbrook Library, and I submitted it to the 2 email addresses I could come up with. I don't know if they got distributed throughout, and I didn't get a response as to whether that's acceptable. And I'm also interested on when the selectmen are done with this budget, ready to get it to the Board of Finance, when and how will we as the public find out what it contains?
Well, we're going to, the Board of Selectmen is going to give their budget to the Board of Finance on March 15th. And that'll be in public, and we'll give a presentation. So come to the presentation. I see no reason, so it will be put on the website. We'll put the budget on the website. Right now is on the website the budget I gave to the Board of Selectmen. As far as the what you said about the Broadbrook Library being a nonprofit organization, I know you had some documents. I don't know if we distribute that to the group. So we'll have to do that at our next meeting, at our next budget meeting. We'll do that.
Now, you said you sent out an email regarding the nonprofit status within your group to find out if you're,
No, he confirmed that they have nonprofit status.
they do have it. Okay, I just didn't get that from.
No,
I didn't either.
probably didn't forward it.
Just-
Yeah.
Okay,
Just bring it
Didn't realize.
bring it to the next meeting and distribute it.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Other, yes.
Denise Terry, 2309 Canyon Ridge Drive in Broadbrook. I understand that the selectmen have made some move toward hiring a lobbyist related to the casino. I'm wondering if you would share with us the details of that, the financial arrangement, and who will be paying the lobbyist and how much?
And we'll answer that question. I would also say that on the agenda, I do have discussion of casino. So after we answer your question, I'd ask to hold off the casino questions until we get to the casino, and I think that would direct
I have
our...
one other question. I have 2 separate meeting notices for tonight, and the agendas are not the same. Could you explain what's actually happening?
So there's a town meeting that's scheduled at 7:30. By charter, the town meetings have to start at 7:30. So the procedure, for those of you who haven't been to one of these before, is that the Board of Selectmen meetings convene at 7, and at 7:30 we recess the Board of Selectmen meeting, convene a town meeting, conduct the business of the town meeting, and reconvene in the Selectmen's meeting.
Excellent, thank you.
Also, we should be, hopefully, I'm not highly skilled at it, but hopefully we're recording this meeting, so it'll be on YouTube if you want to watch it. And then, as far as the lobbyist is concerned, I could say a little about it, but I think Jason is the one who works at the state capitol, so he might be more able to speak to the lobbyist.
What were your specific questions?
My specific questions were, has the town Board of Selectmen contracted with a lobbyist? Who is the lobbyist? What are the financial arrangements related to that lobbyist, and who is paying for that lobbyist?
Okay, so that's like 5 questions. Let's do
4.
a couple at a time because I'm going to forget them. Have we contracted with a lobbyist?
Yes.
No, we have not. Who is paying for the lobbyist? In the development agreement between the town of East Windsor and MMCT, MMCT will be reimbursing the town for costs associated with the development agreement to include the cost of representation in the General Assembly. What were your other 2?
What do you anticipate the cost being of hiring a lobbyist?
So there is an open RFP process at the moment. Until we review them, we won't know the answer to that.
Do you know when you anticipate reviewing them?
I think the hope is to have somebody in place shortly. That's the best I can do.
Will the details of that be made known to the town of East Windsor residents?
We'll have to have a public vote. We, as the board, will vote openly about that selection, yes.
And
The details will be included in that.
Nothing will happen until you meet again regarding a lobbyist, and that would be warned to the public that there'd be a meeting?
Nothing will happen until we take a vote on that measure.
And will the public be told in advance when that meeting's going to take place?
Well, the hope is to do so tonight.
Okay, well, there we are. Okay,
Anybody else? Is that all of them?
pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you. Further public participation? Yeah.
Thank you. Neil Marlowe, 64 Prospect Hill Drive. My question on the YouTube, are all the meetings on YouTube to be reviewed and watched?
Let me say that we just instituted this a couple months ago, so this is a new process. Right now, we're recording all the Board of Selectmen meetings. We hope to expand it into Board of Finance meetings and other meetings of town meetings. But yes, the Board of Selectmen meetings should be there.
Can it be made known on the town website? As
Yeah.
to which, what is the keyword to?
Yeah, and in fact, if you
It
go
is
on the
known.
menu on the left-hand side of the website, main page, front homepage, you'll see something called streaming video. Just click on that and it'll take you right into all the past videos that are on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Just to add to that, any meetings that were prior to the start of the recording sometime in November, I recorded and posted up on YouTube, so if you search East Windsor Board of Selectmen, many of the meetings from prior meetings are up there as well.
Okay, further public participation. All right, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Tom Talamini, 23 Rice Road. I just want to thank the selectmen for putting a lot of time and effort into coming up with this development agreement with the MMCT. I think you guys did a good job and it took a lot of time.
Okay, I think we can, because I said, we're going to talk about the casino a little bit later on in the... Okay, if there's no more public participation, there's no boards and commission resignations or appointments, so we'll go on to Lenny. Tell us about South Street.
Okay, so we're gonna go from public participation
Don't step
to
on
new
that dog's
business.
tail.
To unfinished business, but we changed the agenda a little.
All right.
So Lenny, go first.
Okay, first thing I'd like to show you all is we got our new lifts operational today. We are now able to lift
A
a
dump truck.
full-size dump truck, 10-wheeler.
Wow.
My mechanic is like in heaven.
We're getting there, aren't we?
See, aren't we?
We're getting there.
Look at that. Make sure you give
Yeah,
the
very
JLA a
good.
picture of
He
that.
can stand underneath and do what he needs to do, and it was quite,
Those are nice.
quite
Tim
cool.
Rhoda's got 2 sets of that. Beautiful.
I wish I was a mechanic.
We don't.
I don't.
We-
We wanted to run one. You left yourself open for that one,
Okay,
Board group here.
I don't know if I've been here yet to talk to you all about this, or what you know about this, or don't.
Very little.
th- We own the property at South Road, and the people own the house as well. Somebody's oil tank leak, let go, whatever. The containment system, they all have above ground outdoor 275 gallon tanks. They're all in a containment vessel, concrete containment vessel. Unfortunately, there's a rain drain in those vessels and you have to put a plug in it. Well, in this particular case, the person did not have a plug in it. The tank let go, filled containment, went out the drain, contaminated the soil. Super Bowl Sunday, I got a call about 10 o'clock in the morning. There was an issue going on out there, but I didn't need to worry about it because Deep was out there running the show. I got the call from Dustin Mitchell, Environmental Services. So Deep is manning the show, having a ball. Well, a couple hours later, I got a phone call again that said I was now in charge because when someone from the WPCA went out to mark the sewer for an emergency call-in, they made it known that it was town property. And as soon as Deep heard that it was town property, they stopped and said, "We're done, we don't clean up for towns. It belongs to the town." I got the call back, had to go back out, met the fire marshal, and fire chief out there from Warehouse Point District, and I assumed control of the situation. So we agreed we had to clean the situation up. They were already had started digging and what have you, so we knew we had to clean the area up. We own the property, we're responsible, well, we're at least responsible for cleaning it at this point. Insurance companies are gonna be beating each other up, I'm sure. Her insurance company, State Farm, has said they've denied the claim because she leases the property, even though she owns the home and owns the tank that leaked on the town property. As recently as this morning, I was talking to Chubb, who apparently is Kerma's, the insurance company, who's the actual insurance company who's insured the town, and went through the whole thing with the woman, because now they've cleaned up the entire area other than the oil that got underneath the house. So they're gonna need to put a vac system in there, and they're gonna have to suck the hydrocarbons out from underneath the house. Just so you know where we are currently, for those of you that weren't here when I was talking to the Board of Finance, I have a bill to date for $56,223. I have a bill to finish filling the hole for basically $9,500.
What are they using for fill?
That's a proposal. Just fill, just compact, put it in. You know, there's a lot of labor involved in this, man hours, because I could fill the hole, but I don't have a piece of equipment that can get between the houses to fill the hole. The houses are so close together, it's ridiculous. They're in there with a skid steer and a mini excavator. That's how they dug this entire hole. And they're digging it out, and the skid steer's going back and forth between the backyard to the front yard, and it's a pain in the neck.
So how did they dig it to begin with, when they put it in?
But what?
The UST?
Well, the underground tank may have been put in back when they may have come around through backyards and what have you, but the underground tank we discovered when we were cleaning up the contaminated soil
Oh, so it was the
from the
contaminants that they were
above
trying to
ground
get out.
tank.
Okay. So it's not like there was a containment unit?
There was a containment unit around the outside tank. It's a concrete vault, if you will.
But the place you couldn't get to, that was just where the leak had
Right.
migrated.
Well, it's just you can't get anything in the backyard. Between, the houses in that area are also close. You
Trees are
can't-
grown in too, right?
Right, yes.
I mean, you know, when it's brand new, there's plenty of room, but it doesn't stay that way.
So I also have that's a proposal to fill the hole, and I have a proposal for almost $29,000 to put that system in to vac the hydrocarbons out, and it's gonna run for probably 6 months. And that includes installation, running it, monitoring it, other than the electric bill that I'm gonna get at some point from the woman's house.
So you're talking like $90,000?
Close to 200, yes.
And Kerma's not,
Well, Kerma, okay, so this woman that called me this morning, it's the first time I've heard from Kerma regarding the thing, and I think it's only because we had a meeting yesterday, and I told Jennifer in Bob's office, she needs to get a hold of Kerma, because, you know, we're starting to get bills, we really need to move with this, we gotta get off the dime here. So a woman called me this morning, we went through the whole thing, and she agrees with me, why is it the town's responsibility, why is it? I said, hey, you know, fight it out with State Farm. I agree with you, it shouldn't be my problem. She owns the house, she owns the tank, it polluted our ground, she should be responsible. But she doesn't have the resources to do it. Now, Deep, if it wasn't town property, would have paid for that cleanup. They would have stayed there.
I hate to bother you in mid-sentence, but we've got to have a town meeting in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
No, you're still on.
I'm good. I mean,
We can wait a few minutes, because that clock's fast, or slow.
If for some reason the insurance company can't resolve it, I need to have some recourse for collecting
Yeah, it is.
our money. Can we place a lien on the house?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, and, according to Joe, it's appraised at
I was gonna say, we're
$45,000.
not gonna get $100,000.
Really?
I know, but
Okay.
He
something.
just checked, it's
I'm sure
appraised for
people will be
45, we have
glad
a
to
bill
buy
for
it for
56.
45.
Can we sue State Farm?
They are claiming that they're not, they are denying the claim because they're claiming that she leases the property, she doesn't own the property, and they do not cover anything leased or rented.
Wait a minute.
So now we need to cover ourselves
So-
for the other 15 and 16
There's a
properties.
letter going out very soon that's gonna tell everybody that. They need to have their tanks inspected, they need to have their containment inspected, and they need to add the town of East Windsor as an additional insured to their policies. They're all gonna get this and they're going out certified.
So 2 questions, or else what? What happens if they say, you have over time not necessarily been overly receptive to messages from the town? So what happens if they say, I'm not gonna add you as an added insured?
And they're violation of their lease.
I guess that's up to the lawyer.
Yep.
Okay.
That's out of my hands at that point.
That time
So
Paul
secondly,
McConnell gets involved.
if State Farm is saying State Farm is saying that they won't cover the claim because they don't cover leased property, is that right?
There's an exclusion in her policy.
Okay, so, because she doesn't have, whoever, I don't even know who this is, but because
I
the
don't either.
property owner, because the
I don't know
property,
the name.
well, not the property owner, the tenant, the individual doesn't have sufficient insurance
Homeowner.
through
Homeowner.
the homeowner, doesn't have sufficient insurance to cover this through their insurance, is the property owner personally liable for that? This still doesn't sound
Well, I
like it's our.
think it goes back to what Dale said. I think if the insurance companies beat it up and State Farm just says, no, we're not covering it, and Kerma covers it for us, I'm sure that they're gonna lien the property. Somebody's gonna lien
Oh,
the
yeah.
house. Can't lien the property, we own the property, they'll lien the house.
Clean house.
I don't wanna hold it.
I know, I don't wanna be a landlord either.
Yeah,
So
I got
what we
called.
gotta do here-
Steve, I got called
The
on.
town,
Yeah.
Steve,
what's that?
I raised my hand and Bob
No, I
called on me,
didn't
I'm
see it. I
sorry.
didn't hear it, I
Uh,
didn't see it.
What they're failing to realize is that tank was owned by the tenant, is their exclusive property. Therefore, it is their property and they are the polluter on town property. It's just like if one of our town trucks goes over on somebody's lawn and dumps 50 gallons of oil on it. Well, we don't own the property, we're not gonna clean it up. Well, of course we're gonna clean it up. So,
Well, there's certain
the
state
insurance
statutes
company
and
is
things,
gonna
and
have to
there's-
pay
yes.
it, one way or the other.
See, like, just like with the Ripley's renting land, and when I rented
Right,
land,
exactly.
You betcha.
the landlord says that you will carry this kind of insurance. You will name the owner in there as an additional insured. So where the town owns that land, you've gotta go through and look at all these leases, and you've gotta say, you're gonna carry this kind of insurance. But then if they say, no, we're not, what are you gonna do then?
Yeah,
They're
that's
gonna
where
leave.
we are.
So
I
your
think,
house bell.
we're gonna have to break it shortly.
I'd like to make a motion that we take a recess to have the town meeting.
Second?
Okay, those in favor?
All right.
Want me to come back and answer more questions?
I know, there's probably more questions. Are you done with your presentation? Not really. Yeah.
I think we got.
Only be a few minutes, we hope.
You said the house was appraised at 45,000?
Don't quote me. Quote him.
I think we got people here. Actually,
I guess I'm not supposed to sit up here for
we may.
Right.
Okay, I'll call this town meeting to order. This is the town clerk, Joanne Slater here. She'll be the recorder for this town meeting. The first order of business is to elect a moderator. Do you have any nominations for moderator? Paul?
Nominate Bob Maynard as moderator.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Dale?
Second,
No, Paul. David.
no, to make them cease.
I close
You did.
nominations, I did.
Yep.
Okay, the town clerk will read the notice.
Town of East Windsor Public Town Meeting Notice. The legal voters of the Town of East Windsor are hereby warned that a town meeting will be held at the Town Hall, 11 Rye Street, Broadbrook, Connecticut, on Tuesday, March 7, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. for the following. Item number 1, to consider and approve the sale of 5.1 acres on East Road, map block lot 110/77/022, to John Burnham in the amount of $5,000. Item number 2, to consider and approve the sale of 2 North Main Street, map block lot 121/02001A, to Peter and Cynthia Sanders in the amount of $1,000. Item number 3, to consider and approve the sale of 1.4 acres on Windsorville Road, map block lot 048/65/006, to Andre Charbonneau in the amount of $1,000. Item number 4, to accept Hayfield Lane as a town road. Item number 5, to consider and vote on the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-9B, that the hours for referendums be held by the Town of East Windsor in calendar year 2017 be held from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Dated at East Windsor, Connecticut, this first day of March 2017, East Windsor Board of Selectmen, Robert Maynard, First Selectman, Richard P. Pippin Jr., Deputy First Selectman, Jason Bauza, Selectman, Steve Dearborn, Selectman, and Dale Nelson, Selectman.
Thank you. And now I'll read who is eligible to vote. This is one sentence, but it's a long sentence. It says, at any town meeting other than a regular or special town meeting, or any meeting of any fire, sewer, or district, or any other municipal subdivision of any town incorporated by any special act, any person who is elector in such town may vote, and any citizen of the United States of age 18 years or more who jointly or severally is liable to the town, district, or subdivision for taxes assessed against him on an assessment not less than $1,000 on the last completed grand list of such town, district, or subdivision, who would be so liable if not entitled to an exemption under Connecticut State Statute Subdivision 17, 19, 22, 23, 25, 26 of Section 1281, may vote unless restricted by provision of any special act relating to such town, district, or subdivision. So there we have it. I would ask the person with item number 1 to read the resolution.
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. Item 1, to consider and approve the sale of 5.1 acres on East Road, map block lot 110-77-022, to John Burnham in the amount of $5,000. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Yes.
I had somebody ask me today, and they didn't have an answer. They want to know if the property that's listed for sale, if they were posted for the general public to have an opportunity to bid on it, or did the individual solicit to buy town property from them?
This is what I think, and I think it should be posted, but I don't think we posted them on the website. And that was a mistake, and we can put them up there tomorrow. We have 10 pieces of property to sell, and what we did is go out and have RFPs and hired 2 real estate agents and said, here's your property, and we made an agreement with them, and they're selling that property. So that's the way we went about selling the properties, to hire a real estate agent, but we could have posted them on the, you would have to go to the real estate agent still, but it would be helpful. We want to sell the property, to put it on the website.
That 5.1 acres that's for sale on East Road, is that part of that other 10-acre parcel that's been approved to build on?
No, I think actually Dick Pippin might know about that. Do you want to say anything? It's next to his property.
I thank John Burnham for a generous offer. It's more than I would have paid, and
Yeah.
what's ours?
Yeah, it's a kind of a swamp, basically. And most of these town properties we're selling, we got them through a tax sale or foreclosure, so people really didn't want them. They don't want to pay taxes on them. So we're selling because we'll get some tax and we get some money for it too. So, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2.
All right, Rebecca Talamini, item number 2, to consider and approve the sale of 2 North Main Street, map block lot 121-02001A to Peter and Cynthia Sanders in the amount of $1,000. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Second.
Thank you. Do you know that person? Okay. I don't know you, but she does. So.
She's the former town clerk.
Oh, okay. Any discussion? Yes.
Is that a house, or what is 2 North Main Street? Doesn't say any size lot or anything.
Okay.
I have that information.
All right.
0.08 acres.
Not very big.
Wait, we have to put up a mailbox?
I think it's right away.
Yeah. It's assessed at $280. Small lot, birdhouse. All right, further discussion? Yes.
Just for information purposes, it is actually a parcel of land that sits behind another piece that sits on North Main. And it has a section that sits in Massachusetts. So it's just a small sliver of land. And as the transfers occurred around that, this piece just was left out there as unknown owner. Nobody claimed it, it just stayed unknown owner. So it continues to be taxable, but not with taxes uncollectible. And so we're just trying to clean this up. We've done as much work as we can with these pieces to try to find who owned them, including our own time and energy. And then when this got to this level, we would pursue a legal counsel to do more work. And there's just no one.
So are these owners of adjacent land to that parcel, or?
Say that again?
Are these people that want to buy this parcel adjacent landowners?
I have no idea, but I would assume that would be the smartest thing for them to do, yeah.
I would assume that too. I don't know the relationship.
We've had a lot of interest with all, so I never know when this happens until it's recorded in a done deal.
Yeah, and like I said, we have 10 we're trying to sell, and this is going to sell 3 of them. So I'll put this up on the website tomorrow, and you can look at other properties. Okay, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, item number 3. Anybody have item number 3? Okay, I'll read it because this is kind of a special one.
I'll read it.
All right.
I don't know who's got it, but somebody. Okay. Richard T. Pippin, 37 Wallam Road, to consider and approve the sale of 1.4 acres on Windsorville Road, map block lot 04865/006 to Andre Charbonneau in the amount of $1,000. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Is there a second? Now, we're going to do a little something different. The resolution that was put in the paper had Andre Charbonneau as the person who was buying this property. Actually, it's Ernestine. And so we have the wrong name. His wife is buying it, and we have a signed contract with the wife's name on it. So I will ask somebody to amend that motion to change Andre to Ernestine. Well, the question would be, because we approved, we can do that. This is a town meeting. we can amend an motion. However, the Board of Selectmen voted on the Andre as the owner. So we would not be doing what the Board of Selectmen moved to a town meeting. So I'm not sure, that gets kind of gray. We could put it off to another town meeting.
That's a good suggestion.
I think that one should be shut.
All right.
I'll
And,
rescind my motion.
okay,
And I'll rescind
so
my
the second, okay. Item number 4.
Bill Lowe's, Melrose Road, to accept Hayfield Field Lane as a town road. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and item number 5.
You guys passing it on.
Okay.
Well, I know they got it back there. Hey, well, come on, Kevin. Go ahead, Dale.
Item number 5, Dale Nelson, to consider and vote on the recommendation of the Board of Selectmen pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 7-9B, that the hours for referendums be held by the town of East Windsor in calendar year 2017 to be held from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I move the foregoing resolution be adopted. Second.
Discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
You don't want to take no photos?
Good job.
The whole thing all put together.
Bring one back.
This is the updated from Dale, he just made it off.
Hi, Joanne. How are you?
The ones that still have to be touched on.
Well, it's not cold.
That's from Dale, she just ran it off, the highlighted ones.
No, it isn't. I know you guys
Lenny is gonna
I understand.
That meeting that was scheduled back in November. I was actually the first one
You're back again? Like the best, Denny.
I don't give up.
Yeah, like a bad Lenny.
I heard that.
I just heard him say he's not plowing that street that you live on anymore.
We have a real town working down the street.
Come on, hurry up, you're holding up the show. Will you? Come on, let's get going.
Okay, do I have a motion to resume?
Motion to resume town meeting, or the selectmen's meeting.
All right, so Lenny?
Well,
Questions?
I wasn't sure if everybody was done with their questions. We're just going to continue to oversee this and get the hole filled and get the system put in and what have you. And we're waiting right now, actually. I want to hear back from Colonel, because we weren't sure if we wanted to let State Farm has hired an environmental consultant. I'm not sure why, since they, aren't gonna.
Seems to be some softening of their position.
Well, I don't know if that's it, or if they want to come out and make sure to get plenty of ammunition to deny the claim.
That's what
I
they
don't
do.
know. So I posed that question to the woman from Chubb this morning, from, our insurance agency. I said, should I be letting this gentleman on the property or not? So we're in a holding pattern until they tell me we should or shouldn't let the person on the property. Because we don't want to fill anything, it could go either way, and I'm not sure. Like I say, I'm not a lawyer.
So, the way this works is the town owns the underlying property, but the homeowners own the homes. And the oil tank is attached to the home.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
The homeowner owns the oil tank.
yes.
The homeowner's liable.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get somebody to say.
Yeah, but I
That's
don't
what we
know,
believe.
I don't know if there's any money there to pay the debt, so that complicates
There's the
it.
value of the house.
Well, the first thing, the reason Deep got involved is the first question posed by the environmental cleanup contractor when he got to the site was, can I have a credit card, please, so I can be assured of payment?
Yeah, right.
And basically, the answer was no. So,
With a bill like that, I would have too.
One thing you don't wanna do is fill that hole in yet.
no, I can't. I gotta wait until these people,
Did they come out and look at it?
And then the
There is
vacuum.
a time, and it's getting unreasonable, that hole needs to get filled in whether they like it or
So
not.
how much so far is it gonna cost if you agree with them filling in the hole for $9,500 with sand?
No. Well, to do that, yeah.
well, we're at 56 and a half roughly, and another 10 is 66 and a half. And if they put the system in, it's another 30, we're at 96, and, we're close to $100,000, right.
For 46,
Well, I was
$1,000.
corrected when I left that appraised value might be a little funky because of the way that whole development is out there, but I'm sure it's 100 or a little, it's not over $100,000, I can guarantee
no,
that.
I'm sure that.
So, I don't wanna leave you with the wrong,
I don't want to become a,
So if they say they're
Landlord either.
not gonna pay for it,
we're already
what are we
landlords,
gonna do?
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
know.
that's how we gotta do this.
We're working it out, that's
Turn it
not
over
a
to
quick
our lawyers.
solution to that.
Well, an attorney could fight their attorney at the insurance company, and the insurance
Well,
company would fight to the end, and
I
it
think-
could cost $100,000.
Yeah, but I think our insurance company, Kerma, is the one that's going to
Well,
fight.
Our insurance would
It's up
step
to our
up to the
insurance.
plate
Well, no,
here.
our insurance
yeah.
will fight for, and if they can't get someone else to pay the money, they'll pay it themselves.
Kerma has their own lawyers. Well, actually, I don't think they probably have their own lawyers, but they actually subcontract other lawyers as well to handle cases for them in the specialty. I've been involved with Kerma before where they've had their, where they hire the lawyers to fight for the town. So it's all part of the Kerma thing. We don't have to get the town attorney involved necessarily. It's
Insurance company.
right.
Right, that's what we pay the insurance for. But the other issue is there's a big hole sitting there and it can't stay there. We need to do something, it's a safety issue. I don't know if there's children around there, I would presume.
I don't know. It's
an unsafe,
fenced off,
yeah,
it's
but
construction
it's
fence.
still kind of an unsafe condition. I think we need to have a deadline to get that thing filled in, whether they look at it or not, at least we need to go, that's fine.
Well, I think
We can't leave a hole, it's an attractive nuisance.
Well, I think we can leave it for a couple weeks.
I
We'll
wouldn't
talk
go,
about
I
it
wouldn't
next-
go 2 weeks.
I'd hate to put a deadline on it, because we've got to find out, with insurance and everything else, whether this guy's got to come and take a look at it. I don't think that,
Then he needs to diddy-bop right up here and look at it. You can drive anywhere from New Jersey to East Windsor in a
Well,
day.
he was gonna be here Monday.
Well, that's
He
good.
would have been here Monday, but there was a question as to whether or not we should even let him look at it. So we need a determination of, and we could fill the hole.
I think we need to.
I mean,
Within a reasonable time. If they don't look at it, we need to make that hole vanish before we have an incident that's much worse than what we have.
So who makes the decision whether we can come and look at the hole?
I have posed that question to the insurance company, because they have their own environmental consultant apparently that they do business with, And I will be on the phone first thing tomorrow morning, and I will call her and say, hey, you got some news for me, because I have a board of selectmen that want the hole filled.
Yep.
So
Okay, so I guess that's where it stands
I need an
tonight.
answer.
Yeah, I think so. I think we really need to have this resolved and the hole filled by end of next, not this Friday coming, but next Friday.
Well, I mean,
That's 2 weeks,
If I tell
basically.
him to fill it, he could fill it probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Well, I think we need it as soon as possible. We need to,
But do they have to put that vacuum thing in before they?
Yes,
fill
it's
the
part
hole?
of it, they gotta pipe it and do that and fill up.
they can dig it back up and do that if they have to. Just Peanuts
then
to
the
do it
price-
over.
Well, I don't think it matters, if we're filling the hole, we're gonna.
Yeah, if the same
system
contractor's
has to
doing
go
it,
in.
yeah.
The system has to go in, so it's,
But you leave a hole long enough, you're gonna have a problem.
Who decides whether that system goes in?
I guess we could say, forget it, leave it
Me as
contaminated
the
under.
house owner with
We
the
can't
solid,
do that.
if the stuff went underneath,
Well-
what if I said, it's not coming in the mail, it's not affecting me, forget about it?
Yeah, but you know what?
What if they said-
But see, they only own the house, we own the
It's our
ground.
property, Steve, it needs to be remediated.
That-
Right?
I mean, that's what, you're right, I mean, they could say that, but and it's,
It needs to be
we're
remediated.
allowed to have like
Period.
500 parts per million, it's like 7,700 underneath the foundation, it got down to 400, so. That's why they're thinking it's gonna run for 6 months, 4 to
Yep,
6 months.
probably. No, we can't sweep it under the rug. It just leaves the town open for liability forever, amen. Needs to be remediated. It's
Well,
the
we
town's
should've sold
property.
that land to those people somehow.
We tried.
We didn't try hard enough.
Yeah, probably.
But whatever.
Probably wasn't the best of ideas to buy that, to take that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Lang.
We good?
Thanks for the wonderful news, Lynn.
I know, I just brought all kinds of good news to the Board of Finance and you tonight, sorry.
You're a heck of a nice guy.
Got a hell of a set of lifts though.
Hey, get rid of that high back chair out of there so
Not yet.
people can
Not
see.
yet.
Gonna work on it?
Oh, Rebecca, you want the high back?
Yeah.
Lenny, leave it there, please.
No, people can't see when you got that
I'll
high
move it
back
when I'm
chair.
done though.
Except for you.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
Rebecca?
My pleasure.
Make a motion to go back into order?
No, we
Yeah.
didn't, no, because we made the motion to amend the
Amend the agenda. So now-
agenda, so we're still in order.
Yeah, East Windsor, 250th.
All right. So our slogan contest has ended and we have our winners, but I will not announce them here live until the next meeting, until we actually let the students know who's
Okay.
come in what place. So we'll discuss that at the next selectmen's meeting. Other than that, our newest thing is our hats came in. Hats are $15 each. We have the beige, the black, the blue, and a dark gray. They're all embroidered and they all look really good. Other than that, we have our basic merchandise for sale, and we're still working on getting events. Our donations are slowly coming in, so if anybody wants to donate, usually make a check out to East Windsor 250, and we will be able to get some of our events funded, and it can be free for the public. So one event that we have officially nailed down for a date is June 16th for 2018 for the Food Truck Fest and the reenactment, which will be at Scout Hall. I still don't have a time yet, but it'll be basically from the morning until like later afternoon for a normal food truck festival. And that's our final date for that. And Community Day will be September 22nd, 2018. And opening of the time capsule is May 19th, 2018, which is a Saturday. And I think those are our only hard dates as of right now. Plus the Masquerade Ball, which is January 31st for New Year's Eve 2017. So that will be coming this year. It will be out Lenote. We're still waiting on a price per ticket, so once we find that out, we'll let the public know and we can start selling tickets for that.
Okay.
I think I've got that all.
Did you say December 31st?
What?
Did you say December 31st?
December 31st, 2017 for the Masquerade Ball. So,
I think starting to sell those tickets as early as possible is gonna be a good thing.
yeah, I just need to call Ashley at Lenote to confirm everything, get it written down in an email, so it's confirmed, and then we'll start going from there, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Anybody else doing this here?
No. Not yet. Now we're going to discuss the casino. I would say, what I'd bring up is that on Thursday, there's a public hearing at the state legislature office building. It starts at 8:30, so I guess the public can speak. I'm going to speak. And you have, I suppose you should get there pretty early to sign up, because probably everybody who wants to speak can't speak. It might not be enough time. And as was brought up before, we're looking to engage a lobbyist to lobby for us, to keep us abreast of what's going on there. So we're moving forward. Is there anything that anybody else wants to add? So I would open it up. Is there any questions? Anybody want to? Great.
Marie, this is a Sunrise Road. If anyone's planning on speaking, just a reminder that they have to have 35 copies available when they sign up, or else they won't allow them to speak. It's just a rule of the legislature. And I would get there early if you're planning on attending to speak. I have a question in regards to the school use. And I know this board can't do anything about school use, but the meeting that was held there last night required extra people to assist in the parking and whatnot because of the anticipated amount of people. And I don't have a problem if it's a town group of people that are using the hall. That actually was put on by a coalition group that now housed in East Windsor. And I question, and maybe that's a better question for you and the Board of Education, if they shouldn't have been forced to pay for that last night, since they didn't give everybody in the room the opportunity to speak. They cut several of us off and tried to speak in favor. So I question whether or not that was for the purpose of the town, or the purpose for MGM, or the purpose for the churches. I don't have a problem with town residents that spoke. I don't have a problem with, their opinion. They're certainly entitled to it. But I have a problem when we're cutting out school sports because we can't afford to pay them. I have concern about our upcoming budget, where we're cutting out war stuff, and we're allowing the use of a town building for an outside agency.
Good question. I don't know the answer. I can check into it. Yes.
I reserved the building last night, the auditorium, through the process of going through the superintendent of schools, and then it was brought to the Board of Education. I am a town resident, and I hosted that meeting last night and invited the speakers that spoke last night, and it was advertised to be an informational meeting about the costs, social and economic, of a casino in East Windsor, and it was advertised to the residents of East Windsor, as the other forums had very well identified what the selectmen and the tribes consider to be the benefits, and nothing had been spoken about the potential costs. So I reserved the building last night as a resident of East Windsor, and I made it clear that I would not be the only speaker when I reserved the auditorium. And the only reason why additional parkers had to be brought in for last night was because the tournament director, along with our athletic director, changed the night of the game at the last minute on Friday night that was supposed to happen tonight to last night. And so they would not have had parkers if there was not another event. I don't know. I don't know whether they would have had parkers if the game was there tonight. But we did not request special parking at the time that we reserved the facility. We told them we were anticipating about 100 people, and they told us we didn't need to have any police presence or anything else. So we were not anticipating any need for parkers or anything else.
Okay, thank you.
She needs to state her name for the recording secretary.
Okay, and state your name and
I'm
address.
Denise Terry, 2309
Right,
Canyon
right.
Ridge Drive.
Need these for the recording secretary,
Sure,
sorry.
thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot to say.
Steve?
Yeah, I got a question on what Denise said.
I thought we weren't allowed to single out people. Is
That's
that-
true.
Well, I'm not trying to single anybody out,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But, well, okay, so what was just said by the person I don't know who they are.
Okay. Be careful what you do.
I am being careful what I'm
Right.
gonna do, Bob, okay? But the school auditorium was given to a town citizen. They went and they requested to hold a meeting there. So does that mean I can go to the superintendent of schools and then through the board of selectmen, me as a citizen here, I can hold some kind of an event at the auditorium at the high school or anybody, any other citizen in town?
Yes.
We can do that?
Yes.
Okay,
Exclude people?
well, let's not get into a back and forth.
Well, I'm just asking
I
a
know, I
question.
know.
I didn't know you could do that.
It's
So
a
now
bad
we all
thing.
know.
Okay,
Okay, that's good enough for me. That's all I want.
all right.
All right.
Anybody else have anything they want to say or ask about the casino? Yeah.
Yeah, Marie, just seems like 10 minutes ago. The other thing is, I got to that event last night at the high school in the auditorium a little bit early and overheard someone that was at the table stating that it was important that a lot of people show up for tonight's meeting because they're concerned that something was going to happen with the referendum hours. It sounded like they thought something underhanded was going to be done. So I intervened and I had said to the individuals that were there that it's just before budget time and that normally what transpires is that we set the hours for the referendum. Nobody's trying to cut anything off. And that concerns me. That's misleading the public. And I'm glad a lot of people showed up there tonight, but that's misleading. I just hope that when this process goes forward, people are talking honestly and openly and being able to discuss the pros and the cons. That's what I thought it was going to be about. Not misleading people, because misleading people isn't going to do anybody any good. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
I appreciate that. Yes.
I still have the original 4 questions about the lobbyists that apparently you're going to make a decision tonight about the lobbyists, you said?
We hope to do that, yes.
So is that, are you going to converse with us about that, or is that something you're going to do in executive session?
No, we're going to do an executive, what we're going to hopefully do in executive session is look over, we've got, I believe, and I'm not sure how many, I'll say 6 requests for proposals. We put out a request for proposals. We've got 6 proposals from different lobbyists. So we're going to go into executive session, we're going to talk about the lobbyists, look at the prices, and decide if we're going to hire a lobbyist. If we do find one that we like, we think is going to work and is the right price, then we'll come out of executive session and we'll, if we have found one, we'll vote to approve him or not. If we don't find one, we won't vote.
And would that vote be made in the presence of us?
Yes, although you'll have to leave the room while we talk in executive session. That's what an executive session is. We discuss contracts or negotiations and stuff. And then when we know that what we want to do, then we'll come out and we'll make the vote in public, so it's on the record. And you know who voted for what.
Excellent. My other question is, I have a concern about that line item, that $150,000. We could approach that really quickly with things like lobbyists and other things. At what intervals will the town be advised as to what the tally is so far toward that $150,000? Because the town will have to pick up whatever's beyond that $150,000.
I think that's a valid question. Right now, I don't know the answer. I won't speculate. I don't know the answer. We're not close to the 150,000. But that's a valid question. In the next meeting, we'll certainly we'll have that answer. We'll know. Usually the billing is 2 or 3 weeks later than the event occurs. So we should have the billing up through, I'd say, the end of January.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Further discussion about the casino. And I'll just say that there has been a lot of discussion, especially since MGM put out that flyer. We got a lot of phone calls. And one thing I'd like to point out, so I looked it up, and we've been talking about this casino since October 18th. We've had it on the agenda, and I'm glad people are are showing up now to engage. But we haven't been hiding anything. Been quite open about it. Okay, if there's any more discussion, all right, we'll move on to Social Services Director.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You moved on a little bit too fast.
Okay, sure.
With all due respect. On the casino, were you going to move from the casino to another subject?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Neil Parlos, 64 Prospect Hill Drive. Were you going to move on to a subject other than the casino?
Yes.
Was that the point just now? Okay. Well, I would like to just state that this year makes 30 years we've been in our house. It was our first home. We raised 6 kids there. We bought the house when the prices were soaring in the mid-'80s. The house was probably worth $40,000. We paid $95,000 for it. There was no homes available for under $100,000 in north central Connecticut. I did a humongous amount of work on that house. Well, now, almost 30 years later, 6 kids are gone. We decided to refinance and take advantage of the lower interest rate. We had gotten home equity loans to make ends meet in a very expensive state. We've been satisfied, though, in East Windsor, and I feel that the Board of Selectmen and those in charge of East Windsor I can't think of anything that I've been terribly disappointed about. So we decided to remodel our house again. We just finished 2 weeks ago a lot of extensive work on the house and had an appraiser come. We had locked in a rate, 3.25% interest rate at 360 Credit Union Friday before that Saturday meeting at the high school. I admit, Mr. Maynard, that I'm negligent for not really paying attention to what was being said about the casino. It was always in the news that they were bouncing around from town to town, and I should have took a more keener interest and attended some of those meetings and spoke up my thoughts at that time. But now it's like on my doorstep, literally. I'm not thrilled about the casino being built at the end of my street, or the beginning of my street. Everywhere we go is through that end of the neighborhood. I guess if every single one of us was faced with the proposition of that casino being built in your neighborhood, then I think there would be a lot broader opposition to it. A gentleman last night was in my face acting very belligerently, and I come to find out who that guy was later. Very large guy that was intoxicated. He continued throughout the night to badger people about the casino. Well, I learned that that guy has a nice house, very nice house on a hill. If the casino was being built in his backyard, I wonder how he would feel. So now after 30 years, we just got all this settled and we're nearing retirement. I'm 60 and my wife's 61. This is going to be a game changer for us. In fact, I told the bank to hold off because instead of spending the money in closing costs, we're probably going to sell if it's going to be a done deal. And we're not going to be moving to East Windsor anywhere else. In fact, I don't even know where we'll go. I've got like 3 to 5 years before I retire. I don't want to leave New England, that's for sure, but we've built up a lot of relationships in East Windsor, a lifetime through our children. We've come to know many parents and built very close relationships, and they're like family. And I would hate to have to leave. But that's all I want to say. I would just want to appeal to the board to decide, make a decision yourselves instead of us having to go through petitions, to decide to listen to the voters. The voters that have voted you all into this place, in this position. And I would say step up to the plate and decide to do the right thing and allow us to have a vote. And if you might be surprised, and I might be surprised, but at least the majority will decide, and that's the political process. This is a social issue. It's not just It's not something minor. This is a game changer for East Windsor. And I think it's a very hot topic that really you should be desiring the consensus of the people. Thank you.
I think you spoke very well, and I,
Just one comment.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was talking to my realtor here right after the vote, and he had some clients in East Windsor that felt the same as you. And he advised his clients, you might want to stick around a little while, because I think you're going to find out that your house may stay flat for a year or two, but I think you're going to find out your house is going to be worth a heck of a lot more in a couple of years if this goes through. Believe it or not. Because the mill rate is definitely going to go down. Where are people going to go? If you got a $100,000 house, if you can find one that cheap, and you're paying $300 a year, or paying $150, where are you going? We got good schools. They're tremendously improved. Got a good town. I mean, I hate to see the town get a black eye. I truly think the land values are going up. I've had some properties for sale. I haven't had an offer in 3 years. Well, I've had 2 offers in the last week. And it's not over there, by the way, but it is in the town of East Windsor. I think you're gonna find your house is gonna increase in value. Not tomorrow morning, but I think you're gonna find out you might make out, or if you do move out, I'm sorry to see you go. And keep an eye on what that property is worth in 10 years. I think you'd be shocked. I hope you'll be shocked, because maybe I will too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and thank you. I
You did a good
appreciate
job.
your story, I appreciate you coming here. And sympathize with you, but that's what I can say at this point.
May I speak again?
Yes, you may.
Name first?
Uh,
Neil Parlos, 6
Well, no, you certainly have 12 months, but she keeps an accurate record.
I appreciate your feedback on that, and I appreciate the sincerity. I spoke maybe too much about the value. That's not my main concern. My main concern, you might know that in the last 2 years, our neighborhood was victimized from end to end with car thieves and property thieves. They cased the whole neighborhood. I was the one that caught them in my wife's car. In fact, some of you might have seen me on the news.
Good for you.
But the thing is, with this type of deal up the street, being 24-hour casino, running 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, right? Lots of booze coming through the place. I don't see that interpreting into a good deal for us neighbors. It just doesn't seem, like I said, it's a social issue. I think that it's a very important issue that should be reconsidered by a vote of the people.
I hear what you're saying again, and what I can say is that we've done our best and to mitigate any impact. And one thing that we're going to do is, if we get it, and that remains to be seen. So I certainly don't sell your house before June, because we have to see what the state legislature does. But we're going to put 11 more police officers on our police force, and they're going to be right down there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, and if there's, like you were saying, people are coming through your neighborhood, and there's also problems that we've had on Route 5 with the cars being stolen. Just recently it was in the paper. We're going to improve our police protection, and so it should be better than it currently is. But you're right, you're so close to that area, it's so close to the highway, that it's a target.
Thank you.
Yes.
So Denise Terry, 2309 Canyon Ridge Drive. Someone raised a question last night after the meeting. Will this casino be expected to abide by the laws of the state of Connecticut regarding alcohol sale and consumption only to a certain hour of the night? Or will they try to get, as they have sovereign immunity on the tribal reservations, and be able to sell alcohol 24 hours a day?
I don't know, and that's a very valid question.
So the laws of the state of Connecticut apply here. This is not tribal land. This is, we have full taxation power here. They're fully subject to the Connecticut general statutes. There is not a tribal arrangement here. This is a commercial enterprise that's happening in town. They'll be able to serve alcohol until 1 o'clock Sunday through Thursday, 2 o'clock Fridays and Saturdays. To the extent that there are noise restrictions, they'll have to adhere to that, although there'd be no reason to. Anything that pickup business that is in town now or that may someday be in town would have to abide by, so too will they.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go with this young lady here.
This is Natalie Ryan for Azalea Court. I have a few questions that I haven't really heard answers for. Number one, the way that we vote on our budget, I'm a little concerned that people are going to vote to keep the budget low, only a 2% increase, and that all the necessary money that we need for police, fire, schools, social services won't get the money, that all those services won't get the money that they need to be funded, and our services will actually go down.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and go ahead.
So you hit on a very, very good point, and one of the reasons that the board is considering retaining representation through a lobbyist is to make sure that there are that as well as other protections included in any legislation that's ultimately adopted by the General Assembly. We need to make sure that the legislation that may be passed is structured in a way so that all of our local considerations are accounted for. Absent that representation at the state level, we run a very real risk of nobody at all telling anybody who's voting there what the needs of the community truly are from an operational standpoint. And your point is spot on for why we are trying to make sure that we are protecting the town's interests.
Because right now, if the state doesn't vote those protections in, we have nothing in the contract to protect the services in town.
Okay, I'd like to
Against
respond.
the budget?
And we do. And what we did is in our negotiations, and it's in the contract, we get a $3 million a year annual payment for the sole purpose of mitigating the impact of the casino. That's not limited by the budget at all. It's outside the budget. It's a grant. And so that $3 million will pay for the police. It'll pay for the school system. It'll pay for fire. And that should be sufficient. We feel that's sufficient to mitigate the impact. But that $3 million a year is going to come. The minute that the doors open in that casino, we'll be given $3 million. And in advance, actually, there's an upfront payment of $3 million too. That's going to be used to mitigate the impact of the casino. Where we're going to spend that money is going to be determined by an ordinance. So that's going to be fixed. It's not going to be in the budget. Every year we'll know, because the ordinance is going to say where that money is going to be spent in East Windsor, that $3 million. And the ordinance, all ordinances are voted on at a town meeting, just like you saw here tonight. So really, the townspeople will vote on where we're going to spend that $3 million to mitigate the impact of the casino. So you will have a big voice in that. And I would say one reason they're giving us $3 million before the casino starts. They're saying 15 months before this casino is going to open, they're going to give us $3 million up front, and that's to hire police officers, because oftentimes it takes 6 months to train a police officer and send them through the academy. So we'll have to be paying them, getting them ready for the casino to open. So I think we feel that the impact of the casino is being mitigated.
I hear a lot about police. I don't hear a lot about schools and social services. Because having a casino that their job is to keep you in the casino as long as possible and spend as much money as possible. And what's going to happen when our neighbors are losing their life savings in the casino? What's going to be there to help those people stay out of that casino?
I hear what you're saying.
Families rather than spending it in the casino.
I hear what you're saying, and I would be more concerned about what you're saying. Excuse me. But you have 13 miles up the road is this humongous casino, and if people are so inclined to lose their money at a casino, they're going to go right up the road 13 miles away and lose their money, and we're going to still have the social problems right here we have to deal with. So in addition to the $3 million, we're going to get $5.5 million in taxes. And as you say, that
But that's not guaranteed.
that's not guaranteed, but you have to have some faith in the voters of East Windsor, that if you tell them what you're going to spend the money for and they agree with it, maybe, and we're going to, if it's held to 2%, my gosh, and it's a good thing, we're going to decrease the mill rate and reduce taxes. But I think they might say, well, we'll give you a 4% increase as long as you reduce our taxes. And so have some faith in them, and I think we could if we work on publicizing the needs of the town, and we have the money to pay for it, they might be willing to give us that money. Excuse me.
Denise Terry, 2309 Canyon Ridge Drive in Barbara. I appreciate her bringing up the topic, and I think there's a lot that's not understood about addiction of all sorts, including gambling addiction. And I can speak as a recovering compulsive gambler that I won't be likely to drive up the road 13 to 15 miles out of my way to go to a casino, but I'll be damn triggered by one 10 feet off the highway every time I get on that highway to go to work and come home. And that's the reality, you know. Nobody goes to a whorehouse to listen to the piano player. And I don't know when I have to drive by that every single day. It's a trigger for people that have addiction. It really is. And the idea that, well, I'm strong and I won't ever become addicted and nobody in my family is going to become addicted is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody ever sat down in front of a slot machine planning to become addicted. They are absolutely addictive. Read the book, Addiction by Design. They are constantly manipulating the algorithms in the machine with your little card in there, tracking your play and manipulating the outcomes of the machine such that you become addicted. And trust me, you know, I don't look like your typical addict, and it's ruined my life before, and I'm not wanting it to ruin my life again. So I'm not going to drive 13 or 15 miles up the highway to Springfield. But every time I go to work and come home from work and go to the grocery store to pass it would be a very difficult challenge.
Are those triggers any different for people who are alcoholics driving by a
I'm
bar or
30
restaurant?
years, yes it is. I'm 30 years in recovery from drinking also, and yeah, we have to battle it every day. And
I mean, my understanding, and I'm fortunately not an addict, but I'm related to several, and I would think that addiction is addiction, and the vice is just...
No, it's not. They are very different addictions. And I'm addicted to everything that makes me feel good, and a couple of things that don't. So you have to battle all of them every day and get to them.
Well, I have to say, probably I shouldn't say it, but we have a huge heroin addiction in town.
And I can't imagine why you want to add to that.
But if you guys want to really fight addiction, that's the addiction that we should fight. And so I would solicit any help we can get. Yeah.
There was a lot of banter on Facebook over the last month or so in regards to the casinos, those that put forward and those that were against it. And at one point, there was a comment that was made towards one of the selectmen as being dirty, and I'll keep it dirty and not get into the exact accusation that was made, and I took offense to it, and I colorfully responded. So, Mr. Horowitz, knowing that you're a man of integrity, I apologize to that guy that approached you last night and anybody else. That is not what people should be doing. And if I see him, because I know who you're speaking of, because I was concerned about him and I commented, keep an eye on that man because I've dealt with him before. I will talk to him and make sure that hopefully it'll never happen again. So I
Thank you for
commented
your
that the
sentiment.
Selectman was somebody that had integrity, and I know you have integrity, so I apologize for that, even though I had nothing to do with it.
Yes.
Joe Mello, 4 South Road. We're talking about getting $5.5 million for taxes for, I believe it was 5 years, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Any predictions on after the 5 years, what it may be or may be at?
Well, no predictions. What I would tell you is this: after 5 years, we'll probably do the regular assessment and assess them up for taxes on.
Which may be, maybe you should have some sort of idea of, you know, what they're putting in there.
Well, yeah, they're going to build a $200 million to $300 million structure with the contents initially. 5 years, I don't know if they're gonna grow it or not, and that's why I can't really say what
Based on
the,
200 to 300 million, what would taxes?
it would be about 5.5 million,
It would be about that.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on from casino, last chance. Okay. So now we're gonna go on to power packs. Is Melissa?
There go the chairs.
So, good evening, and thank you for having us tonight. Melissa and myself wanted to come back to you this evening to give you an update on the Power Packs program. We had told you about the Power Packs program when it was in the planning stage, and that's our new program. It's a supplemental nutrition feeding program for the kids at the Broadside School that qualify based on income. And we're happy to report that the program has officially started last Friday. And we have 12 children that are signed up for the program right now. And we are looking forward to expand that throughout the rest of the year. We have wanted to report to you tonight on what was in the first backpack. The first week, we gave to the children 1 box of cereal, a jar of applesauce, a juice, a milk, a box of pasta, a vegetable, 2 fruit snacks, and a granola bar. And so that is an example of what the menu would look like each week. Each week we'll provide different items, and it's meant to be a supplement for those kids over the course of the weekend as well as their family. And one more thing I want to say, and I'll turn it over for Melissa to fill in, is we have had 2 parents come into our office in Human Services to say how excited they were about this program and how happy they were to participate in it, and that, you know, for them, every little bit helps. And one mother was telling us that her food stamps had recently been decreased, and she was feeling worried about how she was going to feed her children, and that this was really going to be a help for her. And the packing, how did that go?
So we have the transitional learning class from the high school helping us with the program. And every Thursday they go to the food pantry and they pack the backpacks. They're learning how to read labels and expiration dates on food products, so it's helping them in their learning experiences, as well as giving back to the community. They were very excited this week to come and help us with the program and are looking forward to coming back again each week. So on Thursday they pack the bags, and then Friday mornings they deliver them to the elementary school to each of the classrooms. We also had a donation of 200 toothpaste and toothbrushes that we're putting in the backpacks for parents to use as well for those kids. Sometimes we take for granted buying personal hygiene items, so we're very excited of that donation, and that came from the East Windsor PTO, so we thank them for that.
And we have had good success with getting startup funding for this program. We had secured a grant from Walmart, a community grant for $1,500, and we also secured a grant of $3,325 through Food Share Partnership funding. And that's helped us with the startup costs and able to purchase food through Food Share at a reduced cost, and also at local retailers. We've also gotten some food donations. We had a really large donation from Allied Community Services this week, and that's going to help us out a lot with stocking the shelves. And we've also had some monetary donations. So we're off to a really good start, getting our feet wet through the rest of the year. And then over the summer, we'll focus on getting donations to start again in the fall and getting some more kids enrolled through our office.
Wonderful program. Thank you so much.
Very
Both
good.
of you. That's
And
great.
Actually, our next item is the Youth Services Bureau, so you might as well stay at the table.
Sure, and Dr. King is
Hey, those backpacks, they're done with food and They do.
So, yes, every Monday,
They look like pretty good backpacks.
Monday or Tuesday, they bring back the backpack, and this is what they look like.
The blue ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every Monday or Tuesday, they bring back the backpacks to us.
Yep.
And each backpack has a luggage tag on it with the child's name, the teacher's name. And so they bring it back to us so we know who has brought it back, who hasn't. And we're giving them incentives on bringing it back. As we get closer to Easter, we're going to offer raffle tickets. And if they bring us back the backpacks consecutive weeks, they'll be entered to win either movie passes or a turkey or a ham based on what's donated to us as an incentive to them to return the backpacks to us on a consistent basis so that they can have some family fun. Again, things that we take for granted as people who can afford it.
Okay.
Thank you for letting us
Yeah.
fill you in.
What is the Youth Services Bureau?
Well, the three of us have been meeting, putting our heads together and our collective resources to try to figure out how we can bring services to the students in town after school. And that Melissa had started with some of the research and found that it was unusual that East Windsor didn't have a youth service bureau, seeing that most communities in our areas do. So we've done some digging, and we found that we would be able to qualify for a youth service bureau, which would provide all sorts of services to our kids in town by amending legislation that would add East Windsor to it. It would allow us to then qualify for a grant through the state. Minimum grants are at $14,000, and that it would also require that the town of East Windsor match that. Half of that would be in cash and half would be in kind.
How much was the bigger?
14,000, and that's a minimum grant.
So, I'm sorry, would we be responsible for 14 or for 7?
We'd be responsible for $7,000 in cash and $7,000 in kind. We can cover in kind no problem because we have a space at the back of the high school that would be ideal for this. It has an entrance to the outside with parking right there. We had looked at it in previous years to do something like this. What the three of us are excited about is that we know that we have a lot of great services here in East Windsor, and this would provide a network where all of the services could work alongside of each other and get those services into the hands of families for their students. So I did reach out to Chris Davis. He is willing to bring it to the legislators. Apparently there was a cap put on the grant in 2012. He would have to petition to lift that cap. Given the financial picture at the state level, we don't know if that'll go through. But the reason we're here this evening is we need to have the town of East Windsor say that they are in agreement with pursuing this. And that would be your commitment at this time. But we just need to have that. We're trying to move it along in this session because if we are able to get East Windsor on it, the grants come out in May, we could apply, and they're awarded for July 1. So we could get this thing started. I have already reached out to the Hartford Foundation for Giving. I have an appointment with them. Well, right now we're trying to figure out everyone getting there. We were hoping for Friday. That's not going to work out. But we're looking for additional grant money. I know Melissa and Tamara Briotti, our SRO, have been looking at the OPM grants. So that we think that once we establish this, it's the kind of service that these organizations want to fund. East Windsor is unique, unfortunately, in this area, that we don't have access to a YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club. There's a facility in Ellington, but where we don't have public transportation, our kids can't get over to access that. So it does really make us unique in that there are challenges for those kinds of services. So we think that if we put our heads together, we know that we can get this thing started. So tonight, we're seeking that you folks vote, if that is the mechanism that your board has to use, to say that you would support going forward with the idea of a youth service bureau. I keep mentioning Melissa, but Melissa has the expertise, along with one of her colleagues, in running a teen center. Certainly from the social work perspective, Kristen has all sorts of skills in that area and knows the need in town from that perspective. So we're pretty excited. We think this is really doable, and that when we put all the entities together, we think we know we can make it happen.
I was lucky enough to sit in on the initial meeting with these ladies, with Wendy Parker and with Bob, and it was a great collaboration. I think that Dr. Kane is right, it's absolutely doable. I think the team that you put together is wonderful. We need to do something for these kids. They are absolutely in jeopardy. They're latchkey kids. They're going home to an empty house. They could get into trouble very easily. I know Wendy Parker was also very much in agreement with this whole plan going forward. So I would absolutely recommend to the Board of Selectmen that we decide to let them pursue the grant through the Youth Services, Youth Service Bureau, and allow them to continue to do their research, and let's find out. I mean, if it's only going to cost the town $7,000, I think we can do some fundraising to mitigate that money.
Yeah, and I was at the meeting too, and I support everything Dale says, and it was really good to see Wendy and the school system and the Parks and Rec working together to do something for the youths, and this is a good start. And we'll get them all together. I guess the bus from the junior high will go right to the high school, and so the kids can get there. The parents will pick them up. And so this is a beginning of something that could grow and really serve our youth. So I would support it very much also.
They also talked about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, you go first.
They talked about doing homework with the kids and social work, and these kids are in, you know, they're at risk. So there's a lot that would be going on while they were there. It wouldn't be just that they'd come in and play cards and shoot the breeze. They would be, it's constructive.
Yeah, and I think, excuse me for interrupting.
Sorry.
I realized that you need a certified person.
Right.
To be involved in, and I believe, Melissa, you are, so here we have a certified person here, and I don't know, are you too?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But willing to do whatever we can to help.
Yeah,
So
we have a good
volunteered for another job.
Yeah. So I think this could really evolve into something. Steve?
My question is, how come this all didn't get started before Wendy started her thing down here, you know?
Go ahead, we did look at that. Go ahead. I'll let
Okay,
you
and now
answer
you
that.
guys are talking with her. Is she gonna be part of this, or is this gonna be dissolved and it's gonna be combined with the one at the high school?
I think what I heard her say, if I'm loosely quoting, was that they were ready to hand it over to someone else. And that what we had said was that certainly we would welcome volunteers to be an add-on to it. Melissa and her staff will be overseeing it. This is the model that we are looking at. We would hire someone to be working with the kids. We'd hire a tutor to be doing the homework for them. And that there's certainly a place for volunteers in that. We want to start where we can grow it, control it first, and know that we're doing it well, and then grow it. We're pretty confident this will grow because there's a need out there. There's not much out there for kids after school. So we want to start with middle school age kids is what we were talking about, and then see how that goes and grow it from there.
We fully support Wendy's endeavors and have tried to give her guidance in everything that she's done, and we think we're at a point where we can help her with the administrative end of things. where she can then concentrate her efforts on the programs that she's not able to run because she's having to worry about rent and how the youth center is going to stay open. So we feel strongly that if we're able to take that off of her hands, she can concentrate on those programs such as the Adopt a Grandparent program and book buddy programs and things like that, that she's not able to get to because of the legwork that it takes. And she is a full-time mom and a full-time employee and is doing a work of 20 people.
Well, you gotta admit, she worked her ass off to get that place open down there.
Yes,
And I
she
don't wanna
did.
see her thrown out on the street.
No, and she
That's
won't
not
be,
our
she was
Yeah.
very,
And I really wanna have a conversation with her before I agree on any of this tonight, so.
That's
She's
too
not
bad,
here,
'cause-
she's not here to discuss it with us.
no,
or talk.
but she was
She'll
very,
direct it,
very
Jason.
inclusive. And the reason why this didn't work the first time, if I'm remembering correctly, first of all, we weren't talking about a youth bureau, okay? So there was no money for grants.
Right.
And that was gonna cost us like $33,000. That's why Wendy said, well, if I can't do it there, then, so it was because we didn't have the money to do it. Wendy was grateful enough to be able to do this. But after speaking to Wendy a couple of times, she's tired. She cannot raise the principal anymore for the rent. It's getting to the point where the volunteers, as we all know, has been reduced. They've had to close one night a week. They're only open Tuesday through Friday. They had to close, I believe it's Wednesday night now, due to the fact that they don't have the volunteers there to help them. So,
And a youth service bureau is a lot different than a youth center. A youth service bureau has a governmental aspect of things. They have a school component, they have a clinical component, where you have clinical certified staff to help with referrals for kids in risk. We would have kids on a youth board where they would run the place. They would have input on everything, and it would be theirs.
So are these people that are gonna be running this deal, are they gonna be town employees?
I am a town employee.
No, but I mean, the other hires, you can't do everything yourself, you know that. You got so much on
Well,
your
she does
plate.
now.
All I know, it's getting ridiculous, the amount she keeps
been for
taking on.
years.
She's gotta have a life. So you're gonna have volunteers and everything else. Are these people that you're going to pay, will they be town employees?
They would be like my staff that I already currently have as employees.
And not to speak out of turn, but you had asked earlier what else is different right now. The other major difference is that, Melissa is prepared to do this, and now that you have given her another full-time employee, she has more time that she could invest into this, where a year or two ago, she could not have put that time into this. And now she's able to have another staff person that she can rely on to take some of the duties.
I also want you to realize that the SRO is involved in this too. Tamara Frioli is very actively involved in this as well. The Department of Education holds us accountable for making sure that students attend school. And when they don't, in the past, we would report them to the court system. They have since told us that the courts are not going to be handling that the place to send them is to a youth service bureau. So this is added for us why we need to get something in place. Because right now, when students are chronically absent, there's nowhere to go with it anymore.
Jason, you have something?
I'll let her finish that. So we're going to get 2 additional staff people for $7,000?
The budget that we had done 2 years ago was to run it for $35,000, but that included a director pay. Now that we have a director, we'll refigure it. What we're thinking is that it will be less than the 35, and then we'll figure that out from there. We're hoping that we are able to get grant money because I said the need is pretty apparent here. There's nowhere for kids to go. And because there's no public transportation, they don't have the option to access outside of the community. So I think that's pretty compelling to get some grant money. That's what we're hoping for, to get it going.
So if we were to do anything tonight and we don't get the grant funding, are we obligating ourselves in any way to spending money that we're not really
I
in a
would-
place to be doing?
I would advise you to word it accordingly so that you're not obligating yourself. That what I'm asking you for, and that'll help Chris Davis with what he needs to do, is that you're in agreement to pursue a youth service bureau. I think that wording would hold you harmless in the event that it doesn't come through.
And so we're talking, you talked about Chris needing to, or Representative Davis needing to lift a cap on available grant funding.
You would have to pursue that.
Yeah, I understand. Is that also, is that the only legislative change that is necessary? So it's
That's
just
what
a.
you told me today.
Okay. So you're not looking for a bill, you're looking for a line of bill?
Right.
Dick?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, we're right in the process of going into our budget, about ready to present the Board of Finance. If we should commit, we need to have a number to build into this budget. Because if you go on board, July 1, we don't have money in the budget. We just can't turn the faucet on. So we really need to see some kind of a number. I mean, you said you need 7,000 as a town's commitment. If this is all it is, fine, then we need to put this into the budget, request to the Board of Finance. Because otherwise, we're gonna end up with special appropriations, and it could be a war show. The other thing is, I'm old-fashioned. See the paper? I'd like to see the plan, what you discuss in writing. I mean, we've all got great intents, it sounds wonderful. I'm definitely not against it, but I would like to see a written plan that we all have to present.
We're trying to take it in steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only been, we met what, last Thursday?
Right.
It'll be a week this Thursday.
Well, I guess you don't have a written plan yet, but I would certainly like to see it in.
We're meeting Monday.
Monday morning at 11.
Yeah.
Where?
You know what I'm saying, because, we've got to justify this. I don't think anybody in the room is against it. We've got to bring this to the Board
But
of
because we're
Finance.
trying to get it in this session of the legislature,
I hear you.
we need that support from the town.
Yeah, and I don't think, we're not committed. If we say a motion to pursue a youth services bureau doesn't commit us, we can say.
Wait a minute, excuse me, Bob. We went through this with the senior buses. We didn't fund it, our portion of the grant. The grant shows up, then they wouldn't fund it, we lost the bus.
We can't apply for any grants without being
Right.
labeled YSB.
Okay, well, we've lost these things before because they weren't properly funded in advance, and by the time you bleed the stone, you're in trouble. I don't mind, but we need to have money.
$7,000 worth versus $20,000 for a van is a lot different.
Same thing, Dale. You lose the grant.
$7,000.
You lose the grant, you lose the grant. That's
You
what
lose
I'm
it.
getting at.
But you've got to be able to say tonight that we're willing to pursue it. Otherwise, they can't remove the cap. They can't remove the cap. We can't get on the legislator. This is all for nothing. These people just spend their time doing nothing.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we gotta be able to put our money where our mouth is, too.
Can we craft the motion in such a way that you would allow us to pursue it with the legislature and continue to work on it so that we could get you something in writing to review, and that we could give you a number that you could take to the Board of Finance for next year, so that we don't have to stop.
Next year is, what, 2 weeks?
It's actually in steps.
That's what I'm saying.
We need to take it in steps.
Yeah,
And
okay.
the first step is that you folks would need to put in writing that you give approval for us to pursue a youth service bureau.
Nothing
Then
wrong with that.
Representative Davis can take that and work what he needs to do in the legislature. Then if the cap is lifted and East Windsor is on, we have to apply for a grant in May. At that point, it would be brought to you because you would see the application. You would need to vote on this is what you're applying for, and you would have your vote then.
But
If you
what I'm
don't
getting-
like it, you wouldn't do it.
So just on that point though, if the grant application period is in May, what happens if the legislation isn't passed by then? Because the legislature's in session until the first week of June.
Then they were, what was explained to me by Agnes Keonis at the Department of Education is they put the applications out. You're invited to applied, and then they hold off funding until it has passed.
Okay, so we could apply in May, having not had the, whatever cap that is sufficiently lifted.
Right.
And then, so long as it is done prior to, assuming there's a budget, prior to July 1st, then we're still eligible.
Right.
So, that said, I move to pursue funding opportunities to include grant funding and state aid to help establish an East Windsor Youth Services Bureau.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Or discussion?
Just one little piece of discussion. The only
Okay.
thing I think is if we do vote for this, which I think is a great thing, we need to, because what are we gonna do? Get this thing approved and then apply for a grant and tell them, well, you gotta wait a year because we don't have it in the budget?
Well, I
That's
think
my
when we
beef.
go to a, yeah, well, we can discuss that at our budget meeting.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we need to have, we need to be able to back up what we're doing. Because I don't like to see egg on the town's face
No.
on these grants.
And I think.
And I don't wanna see any egg on their faces.
Yeah, we won't apply for the, they'll, if they want to apply for a grant, they'll bring that to us, and we can decide.
But you start looking at the Board of Finance is gonna start hearing the budget very shortly. That's what I'm saying, we need to put a number in there. Whether we use it or not, if we don't use it.
Aren't gonna put it in tonight.
Well,
You want a number
we still have
tonight?
another budget
We
session.
got
that
another
we have to
budget
work on.
session, and I just want everybody that we need to put some money in there.
Okay.
I mean, I don't wanna go forward for something that is a paper tiger. If we're
Okay.
gonna do this, let's do it.
A good figure, 8,000.
Yeah, it's a halfway to the minimum.
Right.
Okay.
All right, just one good figure. Thank you.
Jason had a comment, or?
No, I'm ready to vote, man.
Well, call a question.
Okay, well, no, if there's no more discussion, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I'm not voting yes or no right now.
Okay, you're abstaining. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Sorry to be a pain in the you-know-where. but-
Yeah, Monday is.
You made a point, and I think it's a
No,
valid
no,
point.
it is a valid point, because I'm not gonna see us do the same thing we did with the senior buses. We look like fools.
Melissa's into the hallway.
Now you out in the hallway after me. Notes right on the budget, we need to put it in. Tax refunds?
Well, we have
just
the
wanna make
budget
sure
right
that
as the next thing.
Well, yeah, it is.
Okay, thank you.
I just kinda went
Thank
into
you.
that, okay. What are we gonna do? We're gonna have some more meetings?
Yeah, that's
Just to cover your concern, I'm gonna go to that meeting on Monday, the Board of Ed room, and Dr. Kane is gonna pick up the phone and give Wendy a call, they just talked about it tonight. So Wendy will be included in the,
Okay, I have no problem with it, I just don't wanna, we need to fund it. That's my only beef. The place will clear it out, didn't it?
I'll give it.
Are we still rolling here or what?
Yeah, we're still going, I just seen people
We're gonna-
moving around.
You're gonna,
Okay, next agenda item. Discussion of the proposed budget. And I think that what we need to do is meet again. And so I would look for a time when we can meet.
Would you say?
Yeah,
I'd suggest Tuesday, 6 o'clock.
Tuesday, 6 o'clock, next Tuesday at 6 o'clock, all right.
6 o'clock, the calendar.
You better look at the calendar.
you gotta be careful.
Yeah,
PC at 7.
Yeah, you're gonna be in a planning and zoning night.
okay, let's look at the calendar.
PCC.
I thought we had one Thursday.
This Thursday?
Happy Thursday, that'd be the way to go.
This Thursday is impossible.
It is? Okay.
Legislative building, I don't know what time
Oh,
it's gonna
yeah.
get out.
Somebody signed up for Tuesday?
Board of Assessment
You do.
Appeals, 6 PM.
It's all right, we're in my office. No worries.
Perfect. Monday is good. Oh, I'm sorry, Tuesday's planning and zoning.
Always.
Okay,
Monday is assessment appeals, we could steal this room.
My office.
okay,
Nothing else
so
on there?
Monday, do you want to do it Monday?
What's the
I'm
date?
going away Monday because it's my 40th wedding anniversary, and I don't know if I'll be back Monday.
You won't.
You better not be. I don't think your wife will appreciate
I think we ought to send flowers to Kim.
See?
Condolences.
So our only available dates are Thursday, we can't do it tomorrow because we can't notice it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We have to be done by Wednesday. So it's gotta take
I'd say, And then we can't do it Tuesday because of planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning is in here at 6:30. We could meet somewhere else.
It's gotta be done by next Wednesday?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
okay,
Okay, so
Do Monday, I'll be here Monday.
Don't do that.
I'll be here Monday.
How about Saturday morning?
Monday night, right? You're
How about
talking Monday
Saturday
night?
morning? Let's get it done.
I'll do Saturday morning.
Saturday morning?
okay.
Saturday morning?
This Saturday.
Damn right.
Carol,
You better take your wife.
Saturday morning, is that also your
Yeah, I
office?
think you can handle that.
Okay, so Saturday morning, 9 o'clock?
Budget meeting.
That gives you time to
Saturday, 9
notice it,
o'clock,
right?
what's the, I don't,
Okay.
What's the date?
11?
What's the date? Oh, Saturday.
I don't know, I gotta tell you. My phone doesn't.
The
work.
11th. The 11th.
It is the 11th?
Okay, tax approval.
That's Dale's usually.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the tax approval dated 3/2/2017 in the amount of $1,752.49.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're gonna talk about the roundabout. And you would be so kind, or you talk about the roundabout with us. We added that, but,
The one that we so dearly want.
well, Lori and I went over to Chris Kervick's office, I would say, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Before it was before the tribal nations chose us as a casino location. So we seem to have a civil, and who was there but Tom, what was his last name, do you know? He's in charge of...
Tom Maziarz with
Tom-
DOT.
Tom Naciarz with DOT, and this was the first time he really listened to us, and he understood what we were saying, and my impression was that he's going to come to East Windsor and listen to us. They're struggling with what to do with that intersection between the 140, the rails, and Main Street, Windsor locks. And one of the two things that are really obstructing things is Alstrom, who has the trailer trucks coming out there, but actually they could build, if we talk them into a bridge, that bridge that Dick talks about that goes over the canal, that would work. So the other problem is the other building, and what's the name of that, I forgot. Montgomery. And they want to build 160 apartments there, and it would be tough if the cars came out of that and turned left onto 140 going across the bridge. That would mess things up too.
Thank you.
So make it one way.
So I don't know. So we got to do some talking, basically. They're going to come talk to us. That's a good thing. But
They're gonna come talk to us?
well, us being East Windsor, we probably should talk to Tom in range. I think we were talking about talking to the town, but it might be better to talk to the selectmen first, or...
To include the planner on anything like that.
Yeah. But, so that's where we are right now.
You know my thoughts on it, so.
I don't understand why those trucks have to come out of that factory and make a right-hand turn instead of making the left that they made for 100 years. I don't get what their plan is over there. I haven't seen the plan of how they want to redesign that road over there. So they're gonna run them across that bridge, and they're gonna go around a circle and go back across the bridge, okay, wearing out the bridge for no reason, so that they can go across the tracks and make a left-hand turn. This is totally insane, and I think we should do something to stop it. We're not getting any taxes off that factory over there, but we're gonna take their truck traffic over here, and they're probably gonna take those two houses on the corner of Water Street, north and south by eminent domain. So they'll probably claim them to be able to make that thing big enough for the trucks to go around. And my theory is, right now, as we fight this thing, we say, no, you're not doing this to us. East Windsor, I keep saying it, we're always the dumping ground for someone cockamamie ideas from other towns, you know?
Okay.
One other thing that Steve full knows, because he drives tractor trailer like I have for years, when they go to make a right-hand turn out of, I call it Dexter's, sorry, they're gonna take more room to make the swing going right than they will as it goes left. They're gonna have to move the lights back onto the bridge to allow the trailers to make the swing to go right, to go down and turn around and come back through. This is brilliant.
Widen that road out in that section.
This is brilliant.
Make
I
that
mean,
swing. and
this
then
is
there'll be-
engineering.
There will
Lori's
be
got her hand up.
incoming traffic.
Okay, and, well, let me just say first that maybe we should get that Tom guy in to talk to us.
Yeah, I would love to
Absolutely.
talk to him.
Yeah.
For about 6 hours.
Okay.
too.
Lori,
So, Lori Whitten, town planner, for anybody who doesn't know. So what they did agree to, the DOT, is to come in and actually work with the town selectmen and the residents. And we finally convinced them that it's time for them to come in and start working with this town, do the survey of Bridge Street, because nobody knows exactly where the right-of-way actually is. And, you know, if the roundabout is something that has to happen, then we basically suggested that they better come in and try to get the town to buy into it, because right now we feel like it's being shoved down our throats, as I think Steve alluded to.
No, we should say no. We shouldn't even
So,
agree to
well,
anything.
I
It's a
think we
no.
need to keep an open mind, because we just never know how it's actually gonna be configured. But the thing is they realize now that we've been out of the loop, and that they're going to find some money to do some studies on our side of the river, so. And I do want to say that Chris Kerbick has been very open and understanding and trying to work with us as much as he possibly can. So, I mean, he's been in office as long as Bob has, and, you know, he really believes that, you know, we've got to work together. And we do, because that bridge is our connection with each other, and it's a historic connection. We want to maintain it, so. But
Yeah, but that said, I don't want them to come in here and tell us what they are going to do. That is, you know, there has to be some consideration for what the needs of our community are.
Exactly, and that's why we met with them and said, you know, you've really got to start talking with us and including us in the conversation.
I'm less interested in keeping an open mind than I am in them keeping an open mind. Right? Foregone conclusions, I don't want to go through a theater process. You know,
I agree. I can only tell you what we've been told, so we're just relaying the information that has been
Dale, go ahead.
explained to us.
Didn't we already go through a warehouse point plan of development? Didn't we decide what we'd like the village to look like? And there was a meeting at St. John's Church, and I thought that that's what brought me back to that. Thought we already had something in mind.
Ironically, I have copies of the POCD for everybody tonight. That was a very preliminary plan, though. I mean, that is something that was like, okay, here's our pipe dream. Now it's time for us to look at it and actually implement and just, you know, create the design regulations.
But that, it was, the residents were extremely verbal that they didn't want that roundabout in their town.
And we've relayed that information to them, so they realize that they really need to include us in the conversation and whatever design it will end up being, so I wasn't planning on speaking on this tonight, but.
Do they have a plan drawn up?
They only have a conceptual plan.
Do they have anything in writing that they can show us? Why do they need the trucks to make a right instead of a left? What is going to be in that intersection that they can't make that left? I want to see a drawing of what they're going to build.
Yeah, they do have some drawings, and I think that the big issue is the fact that there's going to be 12 trains coming each way daily. And they're really concerned about the trucks and the traffic jamming up at the tracks. That's really their big concern, so. But that's what they need to explain this to us and explain to us why they're designing it the way they are.
They go across, they come back, they're still, or they go this way and they're there. What's the difference? I don't get it.
There was more trains 40 years ago than there is today.
I think you have a good point.
I want to see some plans from them guys, why they have to do this.
Do you have extra copies of that POCD?
I have a copy for all the boards.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
I'm not reading it tonight.
Lord, is this all because of the transition?
Yes, it's all transit
That's
oriented,
it.
development related.
We gotta add 7 grand to it.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
because the train is gonna stop at that intersection, or is that?
No.
Well, when the train stops, the
station.
gates have to come down.
No, they don't.
It's all the way in the
No,
back.
they don't.
Okay,
It's
so you're
called the
gonna.
preempt circuit. It's the way they had it for years. They're full of it.
But the roundabout is because they don't want the traffic because of the roundabout and the way the train's gonna end up stopping now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they probably got new rules for the train stations from when they had.
And the train station's so close to that intersection,
They claim that this is the most complicated intersection with a railroad crossing in the state. Blah, blah, blah.
You know what, Lori? That preempt circuit that they used for years was designed by an East Windsor resident, believe it or not.
Well, when they come and speak to us as a community, then we can all express our concerns and they can explain to us what their design proposals
They're gonna
are.
have somebody from rail operations there too?
I assume so.
I
I
would
don't
hope
know
so.
that, but I don't know. Here it is. We had the conversation, what, it's maybe been 3 weeks, maybe a month at this point. So they were actually gonna try to seek some monies so they could actually do some studies and surveys on Bridge Street, so I think that's where they're at.
Okay, any more discussion on roundabout, I think?
We beat that to death too,
Yeah.
didn't we? Yeah, we did.
All right, Selectmen report. Steve, you're up.
Stephen A.
Only thing I'm saying is I'll be at the meeting on Thursday, all day, on the casino.
Okay. Jason?
Oh, there you go.
Bear with me a second. Come on.
Never mind.
Very funny. I'm really back.
You can start, don't wait for us.
Good choice of music.
All right. By now, almost everyone's aware that on February 25th, we presented and ratified the development agreement between the town and MMCT. I did want to take a moment to thank the 12 police officers who attended in uniform on their own time to support the agreement. It's just one more example of the classy police department and professional officer corps that we have. Out of curiosity, on February 28th, I attended the Windsor Locks Board of Selectmen's meeting, and they brought up the ongoing issue of the proposed roundabout, which we just discussed, so let's skip that. On March 5th, Bob, Dale, and I attended the PAC 89 Blue and Gold Banquet at Scout Hall. It was a great night to celebrate the young scouts, and especially the parents and volunteers who put so much work into making scouting great all year long. I'm told that this year's attendance at the banquet was nearly double what it was last year, and that it was intended to be, in part, a big thank you to the volunteers who do what they do. On March 6th, I attended the anti-casino forum at East Windsor High School. About 120 people showed up, and support and opposition was mixed. The most troubling thing about last night's forum was that people were repeatedly spoken over when they spoke in favor of the project. And it's troubling to see that a diversity of opinion can't be expressed in a public forum. There has to be a place for friendly disagreement among neighbors. Congratulations to the East Windsor girls basketball team on a great playoff run. The girls went 21-5 and made it into the quarterfinals before losing a close game to Thomaston. Incidentally, 21-5 is a school record. 478 people attended last night's game, and I asked Melissa, and she refused to tell me what the capacity of the gym was.
It wasn't crowded enough to be the biggest crowd ever.
You could have 478 people supporting our young ladies is pretty
very good.
Congratulations to the players, the coaches, and the parents. Respectfully submitted, Jason Bowden.
Thank you. Dale.
February 22nd, I attended the Board of Education meeting. It was a great, they had a poetry shout out. Natalie O'Connor, Stephanie Rodriguez, and Martin Resto each recited their choice. The Broadbrook Elementary Modular School, the sidewalks and planning will start in June and be completed by the end of July. A Lions grant must be completed by June 30th. window replacement is on target for completion. There are a few projects that Dr. Kane and Roger Baker will submit before the March 31st deadline for consideration. Budget concerns at this time, it appears to be, and this was a number thrown out that night. It's not a definite number, but because of a reduction in grants, the Chef grant, the Alliance, and the ECS, they were looking at a 12.5% increase.
05.
12.05.
That is.
Our board keeps misquoting it during our meetings too, so you're forgiven.
12.05, right?
12.05 was
Okay, that's what
the
I got.
level service.
Right. But again, they're still working on that. That was at that meeting, and they've had subsequent meetings since then on the budget, so. 213, I attended the MMCT presentation to the Public Safety and Security Committee at the Legislative Office Building. That was at 11 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, I was here at the Town Hall for a Youth Center meeting with Christian Formanak, Dr. Kane, Melissa Maltesi, Jimbo Richards, Bob, Wendy Parker, and Jamie Thrall. Again, we were discussing that Youth Services Bureau. There was a Board of Selectmen budget meeting at 6 p.m. We discussed public works, town property, road improvements, IT and sanitation, Broadwood Fire Department, Building Department, Planning and Development, Zoning Board of Appeals, Economic Development, and Inland Wetlands. On 2/26, Abby's Helping Hand, we had a meeting at 4 o'clock. Just a reminder to everybody, April 22nd is a walk for Abby at the reservoir. It's a 10 o'clock kickoff. Come join us. We had 700 attendees last year. We're pushing for, I hope, for 1,000 this year. We also attended a unified sports basketball game at the high school. It was great. It was a regular basketball game, and it was just, Abby's Helping Hands helped support the jerseys that were being worn. On 3/2, Public Works negotiations met at 9:30 in the morning. MMCT agreement signing was at 2 o'clock that afternoon. Board of Selectmen budget hearings at 6 p.m. We went over the Warehouse Point Library, the Cemetery Association, Police Department. 3/3, Board of Selectmen meeting. 3/5, the Blue and Gold Banquet that Jason spoke of. And 3/6, the No Casino meeting at the high school at 7 p.m. There was misinformation out there, and I'd really like to get that cleared up. I did not attend the Warehouse Point Fire District because it was at the same time. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Dick?
Okay, well, since Dale gave half of the Permanent Building Commission report, and she wasn't even there, we did discuss the floors, the plantings, and the concrete work around the new modulars. It's
Board of Education, sorry, Dick.
lacking. The plantings, they don't know what's gonna grow, what's not. I've since talked with Joe, and we have somebody with a proper credentials to help us with determine which plantings are viable and which plantings aren't. There was a large discussion on the repairs to the floors in the building. Seems like they just didn't do the job the way it should have been. And therefore, we voted that no retainage money will be released to the general contractor until these problems are resolved, because this is our only guarantee that they'll be done. We did okay to pay for the playground mulch, paid GCG Services for their work, paid Futures of Education, the final bill that somehow got overlooked on that one, and they did hire a contractor for the tutorial room and the connector to get that resolved. Okay, Alliance grant for the window project, they had a bid, and they do have a contract. They're waiting for submittal and shop drawings. Everything's on schedule as it needs to be, because that grant's gonna turn into a pumpkin the first of the year. We will be done, right, Joe?
The 30th, June 30th. thank you.
June 30th, yeah, I said
First of the
it.
fiscal year.
First of July. And what else do I have? I went to the planning and zoning, and of course they discussed the casino. People from Showham Road come in, asked them about adding a fast fill to their gas filling station. That was discussed. Nothing was done. Coleman Farms is still unfinished. They have pending issues with the as-bills. They need to do other projects, can't until it's complete. A gentleman came in from 192 Scannick Road for an application. R&R Tool and Die on Newberry Road was granted a 1-year extension in their application to add to the building. Norton Crossing subdivision, Hayfield Lane, request to release bonds, was, they're releasing $58,600. Other than that, they reviewed discussions and projects, and Warehouse Point Center seems to be the biggie, especially with the possible casino and what's going on across the river. I think they're absolutely on track. And I didn't have a wetlands meeting, so I didn't go. And we've made many of the same things that Dale and Steve and all the rest of us made for the budget. Two other things. One, I'm not super keen about limiting the public last night on that discussion. It really doesn't serve as a public meeting when the public can't speak. Only one side is heard. I don't think this is really what East Windsor's about, and I don't think it should be done. I also got this wonderful flyer from our friends up in Springfield.
Who paid for that?
Well,
MGM.
MGM says paid for by MGM Resorts International Operations Incorporated, or Operators Incorporated. Well, they did put facts out. They conveniently left a lot of the other facts out, the very pertinent facts out of there, which looks like it's a super bad thing. In all fairness, you know what? At least they put their name on it, so you know where you need to file that. They didn't lie, but they're far from a fair comparison. This is strictly a slanted thing, and I'll use it to light my wood stove. I'm done.
Okay, thanks. I don't have much to add. I went to that blue and gold dinner that Dale and Jason talked about, and it was the Cub Scouts, and the first time we really had been involved in something like that. And they have a lot of different levels of Cub Scouts. I think they have lions and tigers.
And bears, oh my.
Do they have bears? They have wolves?
They have lions. They have lions, bears, tigers, wolves.
Yeah. But the room this was at Scout Hall, and the room was filled. And I was really impressed with so many young people taking, and being in the scouting here in East Windsor. They're all from East Windsor, so I was impressed. And the other thing, I did go to the Warehouse Point Fire District meeting last night, and Jim was there, and they were working diligently on their budget, and it looks like they're going to come in pretty close to last year's budget. So we'll see about the same mill rate, maybe 1/10 of a mil more, maybe not. They're working on that. So that's all for me. Now we go into the second public participation. So anybody? Yes.
Denise Terry, 2309 Canyon Ridge Drive. You spoke earlier about adding 11 police officers to the force. How many vehicles will need to be added to the force to support those 11? And how much equipment will need to be added at what cost?
I don't know off the top of my head that answer, but I do know that the police chief looked at that in detail, and he knows that. And I don't have that information here, but that would be more than paid for by the $3 million a year impact. So that's what I do know.
I guess I have a similar question about fire and EMS personnel. How many would be added as paid employees to support
the EMS personnel? That's a private ambulance service, and so they're going to, and I don't know really, but what I overheard was that they're going to be I think the casino might be buying them an ambulance. That's going to be staged right there at the casino. As far as the fire is concerned, again, we haven't decided, and we will decide by ordinance where that $3 million goes. Where it's going to go is going to go to the police, to pay for those 11 police officers. But let me also say that that's dependent on what the state legislature says. And of course, they have to say, yes, we're going to allow a casino off of private lands, but they also have to say what kind of police presence they want to have there. So if they just want one police officer on site, well, then the 11 might be able to come down a little. If they want two, well, it might have to go up a little. So there's some fluctuation there. But the $3 million will go to pay for police, fire, and education primarily, and also some social services. And we have to divide that up as we feel is needed. And it will be by an ordinance that will not be political, it'll be fixed every year.
So, the selectmen have consistently said that they don't anticipate any increase in crime related to the casino. Why do we need 11 additional police officers?
Because we need 11 additional police officers because there's going to be a lot of people coming in here. There'll be needs to deal with traffic, and there'll probably be traffic accidents. There'll be to put one person. If we had to put two people in the police in the casino 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that would require 15 police officers because just do it, 24 hours a day. You have to have shifts, and a police officer has time off and holidays and things, and is sick time, so you need that many police officers. There's a formula to figure it out. And if they could put like one police officer in there on Sunday mornings, well, that would, or slow periods of time, then that would help reduce the cost. So does that answer your question?
It does, thank you. I do have one other question. A few people on the Board of Selectmen tonight have brought up the idea that they felt there was some misinformation shared last night. I'd like to hear exactly what they believe was misinformation that was shared last night. Exactly what misinformation was shared.
Okay, I think Gail has
I can share one. Walmart, Big Y. They decided to close a while ago. It's not like we're displacing any jobs at Big Y. They are closing, I understand, in May. That building will be empty, it'll be vacant. But there's no displacement of jobs because the casino's coming in. That was an incorrect statement.
Is the town aware that Big Y is closing?
Absolutely, how do I know?
No, I mean the town's people, because I was not aware that they were closing. And all we did was speculate about whether or not,
Well, speculating is what gets misinformation out there.
That's not misinformation, though. To say, is it possible that Big Y could close due to that? Yes. I was not aware. I don't know if anybody else in this room was aware that Big Y is closing today.
Okay, let's not go back and forth.
So is there anything else that you consider misinformation that you exactly think is misinformation?
I'm not going back and forth.
Yeah.
No, I'm not either.
Then please stop banding about that you think misinformation was shared if you're not willing to say exactly what you believe that misinformation was.
Let me say one thing.
Okay. Steve's going to give you an answer.
I'm not going to go back and forth with this person that I don't know. I know who it is, but I can't say the name, but I don't know who they are. Anyway. When I was there, you all know I spoke. And I tried to speak and I was shut off. I never said in my statement that there was any misinformation said. What I did say was that the facts were not being given out to the people and only what that venue wanted the people to hear was spoken.
I believe you stood up at the end of that and screamed.
Now go back.
I have a rebuttal. He screamed.
No, I
Make a motion to go into executive session.
No, be quiet. But no, the rules are, let me explain the rules. The rules are you have to raise your hand, that's all. Okay, now you're called on.
Steve, at the end of last night, you screamed out 3 times that this was fake news that had been shared.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Good. All right, I think we're through with that public discussion.
Well, Bill O's got his hand up.
Oh, okay, Bill O's.
Bill Lowes, Melrose Road. I want to talk about the pension board. I think that town should all take all our public employees off of a defined benefit pension plan and put them into a different plan. The state of Connecticut, Hartford, are in the process of eliminating the current defined benefit plan. They're switching over to 401k type plans for newly employed employees. And we're also talking about taking employees that are in the present plans and turning them over to this defined benefit pension plan also. I think we should do that in this town. The pension board should look into that as a way of reducing our costs for the pensions. A lot of companies, I think 20 years ago, started switching over from pension plans to 401k plans. I know the company I worked for back then did, and a lot of companies are. You find very few companies now that have a defined pension plan, most are 401ks. I think all the towns, the state, it should be all employees, not just the regular employees. The police department should be under that too. So they should be considered in that. So I want to take all town employees off of that plan. Thank you.
Okay. Marie?
Just because it's me, Maureen, this is a 10 months forever, I would be in opposition to that comment. I think we have contracts that have to be adhered to. I think long-term employees took a job with benefits and pay that they anticipated, and to take that away from them before they retire is absolutely against anything I stand for. If the union's want to negotiate something for new employees going forward, they negotiate it. But to say you're going to play hardball and you want to do something like that, it just requires the individual that took a job in good faith. And in this town, we know most of the people that are here do 4 or 5 jobs without getting paid. Our volunteers on the board here, these 4 people are out just about every night of the week. I should, so you take something and you run with it, so to take it away midstream, I think it's wrong. So I'm just going to throw it out there to be brought up.
Okay, thanks. Yes.
I'm going to change it up completely.
Good.
Since Jason brought this up by talking about the girls' game, I just thought I'd let y'all know that the boys fought very hard tonight.
I
They
didn't
lost
have the
by
numbers.
4 points after a double overtime.
Wow! Was that just tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cog and Chog it was 50-46, second OT.
Quarters as well?
I think it's my old school.
Quarterfinals?
First round.
No, first round for them.
Oh, wow.
So,
Great season for both
yeah,
teams.
great season for both teams. The boys had an incredible NCCC win in their first round of the NCCCs as well, where they got the buzzer beater. The Windsor Locks thought they won. They pig piled all over the court. The ref said, put a half a second on the clock, drop the baskets back down. Our guys inbounded from under their basket to half court. He literally caught, turned, threw, swish, win. So they've had an incredible season. They've had a lot to celebrate, even though tonight clearly didn't go their way.
We all set?
Signatures have been approved, so
Okay.
we're through. We're going to go into executive session now.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statute, Section 1, 200, 6 in parentheses, A, parentheses, E, parentheses, and 1, 210, subsection B-1, negotiations to include Carolyn Medor, Rand Stanley, and Laurie Whitten after a couple-minute pause, like 3.
Okay. All in favor? Second?
No, all the way to the front.
I agree with you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. So she wants to be. Yep. And as Will said, she should